really don't think so. Just a precious few. Common destiny. We were meant to be. Me and you. Hey, how's it going? Christian here. Wit and wisdom from the Midnight Rider. Getting ready to go out and drive, but I wanted to tell you about this guy who did some stuff that's kind of a no-no. You know, when we're driving, we got a lot of people that ask us to drive to a gas station on the way to their house so they can either get something to drink or some cigarettes or whatever. Last night I drove to someone's house. I thought we were going to the gas station next to that person's house, but they went back to get their EBT card. But people ask us to take like a little extra trip, or you know, it's just on the way home, or hey, would you mind, or they hint. I generally say yes. But here is the no-no. And there is a no-no. I pick up this guy at his house. It's probably 3 o'clock in the morning. It's at least 2:40. And when I pick him up, he takes forever to come out, and I was about to leave, and then he finally comes outside. And his name started with an M, kind of an African-sounding name. Obviously, I don't use real names, but he didn't. He talked with, you know what I'm saying, man. You feel me, dog? But with an African accent, which is kind of fun. But I think he was a nice enough guy. He definitely was intoxicated or on something. He occasionally yelled at himself or yelled at somebody because I think somebody thought that he didn't have enough money to go, you know, get more beer or whatever he wanted to do. But turns out we were just supposed to go from his house to this other house. That's what the app said. And then on the way there, he says, well, I'm not sure if I want to go there. I want to get a little something, if you know what I mean. And I didn't know what he meant, but I pretended like I did because, you know, I was trying to like engage in conversation with him. But on the way to the house to get a little something, we stopped at, I don't know, 2 or 3 houses that he said were his girlfriend's house. And he said I could go in, and we talked about it, and finally we left because he just decided he didn't want to do that because you feel me, dog, you know, and you know what I'm saying. And then we ended up at a gas station. We went to like 2 gas stations. I didn't really know that's what he wanted because he had 2 cards. I have 2 cards I can get money off of. I was like, you know, that's awesome. So we went to the gas station that actually worked, and he was going to get 2 dubs because, you know, he has the ability to do that because he's got 2 cards. And I did find out the dub, the cool kids, that's a $20 bill. And so if I took him where he needed to go, he would give me a full dub, maybe part of a dub. It sounded like a full dub, which I thought was kind of cool, but I didn't really want that because I was trying to like put all the information in the app. So everywhere we went, I was like putting the address or changing the thing in the app. We ended up at a gas station on Dodge Street. He went in and almost fell down twice, almost knocked over a display. Had a nice conversation with the person that worked in there, then went to the ATM, then finally came out. And he said his phone wasn't really working really well, so I helped him find a charger. He thought that was awesome. Immediately was up to 4% because his phone was dead, and that was just amazing. Then we went to one of his girlfriend's house again, and he contemplated going back inside. He didn't go back inside. He did get out of the car, came back inside. Thought we needed to go back to his house to get his phone because he left it there, and I reminded him that it was charging. And he goes, "Oh my gosh, it's at 7%. It's amazing. You're awesome. You feel me, dog? You know what I'm saying? Gonna get a little something, something. Because I already got 2 dubs. You might get a full dub if you take care of me." I didn't know what that meant, so I kept going along with him. Then we went to another girlfriend's house. Had to tell him again that his phone was actually charging and not back at his house. Then we pull up at this house in North O. Just looks like a regular house on the corner. Lights out, no street lights, no house lights, no porch lights, no nothing. And he gets out of the car and I'm like, what in the hell are we doing? Well, he gets out of the car, and as soon as he gets out of the car, a car pulls up on the other side of me and blocks me in. And I thought, it's awesome, I'm gonna die. It's gonna be great. It's not gonna be great, but I literally thought I was gonna die for like a second until like a tiny little girl got out of that car. Not that girls couldn't kill me. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying they weren't gonna kill me right then. Well, he goes up to the door, doesn't knock or anything, and this little, 2-foot by 2-foot window slides open to the left of the door, and he talks to him for 18 minutes. He's a very animated talker. I'm sure there was a lot of "you feel me" dogs, and you know what I'm saying, but he came back with a couple of bags of stuff. Not really sure what he purchased, but this goes along with, me running you to get cigarettes or alcohol, or even a soda or a coffee. Technically, those are drugs or stimulants, but they are legal. I do not know what this person purchased. Even if it's alcohol, it was well after 2 o'clock in the morning or 1 o'clock in the morning when you can legally sell alcohol at an establishment. But I didn't ask what was in the bags. He did not offer me any information on what was in the bags. And after he got what he wanted and got in the car and told me we needed to go back to the house to get his phone, I told him again, "Your phone's right here." And he's like, "Oh, it's 11%. That's awesome. You feel me, dog?" And the girl got in line and I drove away, and we discussed, contemplated, bargained over going to one of his many girlfriends' houses, because now he has, a little something something and an extra dub. But I finally talked him into going back to his house, which is like a straight round trip. Should have been actually 1, 2, and then back to his house, so a 3-stop trip. You can do that in your app, by the way. It is perfectly fine to do that. In fact, it's awesome. But I'm sure most people and probably the companies wouldn't like it as long as you're not going way out of the way and cutting them out of money. But if you're stopping at a gas station on the way to your destination, I don't really think that that's that big of a deal, because you are paying wait time and you are still paying for the trip. You haven't turned the app off. It's not a side job or skirting the establishment type of job. It's just on the way. And this particular stop, whether he knew it or not, I was actually changing the destination to the location we were at. I don't know that it was able to set it up like it was a multiple stop, but I changed the location as where we were going every single time, plus it charged time. I finally got him back to his house, where he took about, 12 to 15 minutes to get out of the car. There was lots of negotiating, which, to get out of somebody's car shouldn't be negotiating. He lost his phone, or thought he lost his phone, like 7 times. But every time it was a little bit more charged than it was before, but that was awesome for him. He just thought that was like the greatest thing in the world. And a lot of Uber drivers, by the way, will keep chargers that you can use in their cars. along with mints and sometimes bottled water. But I actually have a USB-C, mini USB or whatever it's called for Android, and an Apple charger always available to you. But this guy's phone happened to be a Android charger. But we finally got him out of the car, and I practically threw his phone out, like go fetch, like when you want your dog to run away for a little bit. And I'm not calling the man a dog. I just needed him to get out of my car because I needed to go home and go to bed. I was supposed to work the next morning, and his probably 4-minute trip took about 57 minutes. 57 minutes. And he, who told me I was originally going to get a full dub, then at the end of it tried to negotiate that, and I didn't really need him to give me anything because as far as I'm concerned it was a tip. I was changing the address every time in the app, so he wasn't paying me to go to an extra stop because that's against the ride share regulations for me to skirt the system. But as far as I'm concerned, he wanted to give me a tip. So finally I realized that that's what he was trying to say when he kept kind of holding the money out. I would have just rather him got out of the car. I didn't want to negotiate for any kind of a tip because that's crazy. I love it when you give me a tip, but he cost me probably 5 or 6 rides if I was, or sleep, either way. But finally I opened my wallet and I said, I have 8 $1 bills. If you want to give me the full dub, I didn't say that, I said the $20 bill. I'm pretty proud of myself because I know what a full dub means. If you don't, look it up. The cool kids are saying it. And I gave him the 8 $1 bills. He gave me the 20. He seemed really confused, and I said, I can give you the 20 back. You give me my 8 back, and we can call it a deal. But it seemed like you were trying to give me a tip. And he goes, oh, yeah, you are feeling me, dog. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? We got a little something. And finally, he got his full body out of the car instead of part of his body out of the car, which I was waiting for a long time. And he stood up. He had his phone in his hand. He had his brown bags in his hand. And I literally drove away. End ride. Swiped it to the right. End ride. And the momentum of the car made the door close. And I could see that he was upright and standing. And I was gone. Went home, went to sleep. This has been Christian from Wit and Wisdom from the Midnight Rider. You have a great night. Don't be a dip. Tip your driver, your bartender, I don't know. Put your shopping cart back, open a door for somebody. Be nice, be kind. Good night.